Ladies and gentlemen, young people of Holyrood, a very warm welcome to the Holyrood Secondary Annual Senior Phase Award Ceremony. I'm Miriam.
I'm Simon. We'll be your host for the award ceremony. The ceremony will get underway shortly, but before we proceed, we would like to take you through some basic housekeeping matters. In the event of a fire alarm, we will exit through the oratory, through the doors at the back, and take a right turn. We will then exit through the doors at the bottom of the corridor, turning right as we leave the building. We will assemble on the tarmac beside the Astro pitch.
Can I ask that you ensure all mobile phones are off or are put in silent mode to prevent disturbance during the awards? Can I ask also that you please wear your face masks throughout the ceremony? As
you arrived this morning, you were entertained by the excellent Ryan Fielding on piano. Playing piano is Zadok the priest. Please join me in showing our appreciation.
I would now like to invite Hannah Irving to lead us in an opening prayer.
Dear God, today we join with heaven as we celebrate and give thanks for every young person here. Thank you that each one is unique and full of potential. Thank you for leading them in their learning, for keeping them safe as they studied, and for watching over them every day of their lives. We pray that they may all feel proud this day and enjoy sharing their achievements with family and friends. We pray that may today be a memory that burns bright within them as they continue on life's great adventure. Amen.
Thank you, Hannah. I would now like to invite our head teacher, Mrs. Watson, to say a few words.
Good morning, all. Let me start by extending my welcome to all of you to our award ceremony of 2021. The Holyrood Award Ceremony is usually one of my favourite nights of the year, and while we couldn't get together in the usual format, I'm so glad we are able to gather here together to celebrate your achievements in person today. Welcome to our invited guests. John Scott QC is here as our guest speaker and as a magnificent example of a former pupil of Holyrood. You'll hear more about his story later on. We also welcome Donnie MacLeod, who is Head of Service for Schools in the south side of Glasgow, and more importantly, my boss. How delighted am I that both of you are here to meet the great young people of Holyrood today. I know you will see them as superb ambassadors for our school. The last group I welcome are you, our outstanding young people and this year's award winners. Today we celebrate you. You are here for your achievements, your ambition, your commitment and your hard work. Enjoy your moment, you've earned it. 2020 and 2021 were difficult years for education. When we finished school on Friday the 20th of March 2020 due to COVID-19, I, and I'm sure you, could never have foreseen how long the first lockdown would last. And then, when things seemed to be getting better, to be put back in lockdown in January 2021 was in some ways even worse. But we all got there. Teachers slowly got to grips with Teams, Shobi and the like, and you got to stay in your jammies while learning. Who could ask for anything better? I, on the other hand, headed to school every day, but what a lonely school it was, and can I just tell you that answering emails is not what I signed up for. For the first time in history, SQA exams were cancelled, not just once, but twice. In year one, teachers could use the evidence up until March, and last year, you had the joys of the exams that were not exams. Yep, we all know it. Even through all of that, last session was an extremely successful year for our school. The performance in SQA results reached an all-time high for our school in S5 and S6, and yet again there was clear evidence that in Holyrood we are still doing better than the national average. Equally important were the high levels of achievement of you, our young people. Those who completed the Sports Leaders Award, our Sports Ambassadors, our Mark Scott Leadership for Life awardees, our Caritas Award winners, those who achieved the John Muir Award, our Bronze and Silver Duke of Edinburgh Award winners. We have had continued success in music, in drama, in dance and in sport. We even have World Championship winners in both dance and gymnastics in our school. But beyond that, you are also making a difference in our community. The vast contributions to the Govanhill Food Pantry, the work with SCIAF, and last year's collection for Save an Orphan are just some examples of our financial aid. But there is also the time given up to help in churches, mosques, gurdwaras and synagogues. And more recently, those of you who are helping the homeless with the kindness team in George Square. You are the people who have achieved that success. We launched our standards for success in the last couple of years, and we ask that you aspire, you believe, and you communicate. Every one of you here today has shown that aspiration in abundance. You knew to achieve the dream, you had to put in the hard graft. You attended school every day, even if it was on an iPad. You listened to your teachers and parents. You took advice. You worked hard. And even when you thought you couldn't work any harder, you somehow managed to. You also showed belief. You believed us when we told you you could do it. And more than that, you started to believe in yourself. There were hard times, we know that, times when things were difficult, times when you made mistakes or maybe even failed. But through your communication with us, with your peers, teachers and families, you got through them. You were never discouraged by those times and you never gave up. You committed to being your best and doing your best, and that's why more than anything you are sitting here today. But remember, you didn't do that alone, and there are people that you need to thank for that, even if they're not here today. There were times when you needed God's help. You maybe said a prayer, had a moment of quiet reflection. Whatever it was, your talents are God-given, and I would ask you never to forget that. You should also thank the staff you get to work with every day, the staff who committed to supporting you and who played some part in your success. If you haven't said thanks yet, do it today. I'm not sure how many of you have seen Adele's emotional reunion with her teacher on television or on Twitter. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch. The difference between you and Adele is that you can give that gratitude now. And of course, you couldn't have done anything without the support of your parents and carers. They provided the foundations for you, your values and your beliefs. They are the people who celebrate with you when it goes well, who push you when you need it, who support you and help you when things go wrong. When you get home today, say thanks to them too. I want you to know how proud I am of every single one of you. Yes, of your awards today because you've earned them, but most of all of the young people you've become. This school is built for you, and the success of this school is down to you. I thank you for your commitment, your passion, your hard work, and your good humour. If I could remind you today of one thing, it's this. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. Enjoy your moment today. You've earned it.
Thank you, Mrs. Watson. We are honoured to have John Scott QC as our guest speaker today. John was a court lawyer for over 30 years. He has been a QC since 2011. At the 2018 Law Awards of Scotland, John was recognised jointly as Silk of the Year, a very, very prestigious honour. In 2016, John was elected President of the Society of Solicitor Advocates, having been the Vice President since 2008.
John has achieved great success in his career. He has chaired many independent reviews for the Scottish Government, and perhaps most significantly, John was a pupil right here at Holyrood Secondary School from 1976 to 1981. Ladies and gentlemen, young people of Holyrood, please welcome our guest speaker, Mr. John Scott QC.
Thanks very much, Miriam and Syme. I didn't want to end up talking about Peppa Pig today, so I made some notes, and perhaps equally importantly, I've paginated them. I'm pleased to be asked, indeed privileged to be asked, back here to help celebrate your achievements today. So let me start by offering you my sincere congratulations. You have all done things which are important, impressive and worthwhile. It has been, as Mrs Watson said, all the more challenging for you to get to where you are due to the pandemic and the need to do so much of your work and communication with colleagues and teachers online. So well done. So who am I and why am I here? Well, you've heard a bit of an introduction. I'm John Scott and I'm a Holyrood old boy. I lived in Curtis Avenue just off Aikenhead Road and came here between 1976 and 1981 after attending St Bridget's Primary in Toryglen. My only connection with Holyrood at the time is that my aunt was a French teacher here. Subsequently, my 3 younger brothers all came to Holyrood as well. Our head teacher at the time, Mr Mullen, was perhaps more of a disciplinarian than his predecessor Mr Poley, who was in the school as head teacher when I started in first year in the boys' annex, which is where Aikenhead Road Police Station is now. I wasn't very good at sport. You could search all the records of sporting achievements by the school and you will not find my name anywhere. But I was interested in debating and public speaking and encouraged in that by, in particular, my English teachers. I also appeared in the school pantomime. I understand that there's not been one for some time. Despite these being the things I was interested in, I was never actually put down the grog pit, which is something I understand has now been abolished and it wouldn't mean much to the later generations in Holyrood. I have remained very lucky ever since, not just in my career but in my personal life. So when I got married for the first time in 2012, it was on the only sunny day in the whole of the summer in Edinburgh. And that was important because I was getting married outside at the Botanic Gardens. And it rained the day before and it rained the day after and it was supposed to rain that day. So I've always felt blessed and lucky. When I was at Holyrood through the debating and public speaking, I made it onto television for the very first time. There was a public speaking competition which was filmed in Aberdeen, in fact. The first prize, if you got to the final, was an all-expenses trip to America. The Holyrood team, in which I was the most junior member, came second, and we got a voucher for the school library, which didn't quite make up for the loss of the first prize. I was also a finalist in the debating competition, the Daily Express debating competition, which was the big debating competition at the time, and I gave one of the worst performances of my life. I was overawed by the occasion, and it was made worse by the fact that my mum had come along as well. So I should say, although I feel lucky and blessed, there have been those moments of mistake, weakness, and using that to learn. When I was at school, I managed to get some work experience through one of the teachers who had a role in careers and was friendly with a partner in a legal firm in East Kilbride. So I got a week's work experience there and really enjoyed that, going to court and seeing what was happening in court. I have to confess that contrary to my expectations when I qualified as a solicitor about where I would be when I was nearly 60, despite now being a QC, I don't know everything. And I think when I left school and when I went to university, I thought by the time I was 60, I would know absolutely everything. So I suggest that you shouldn't lead in conversations necessarily about the things that you don't know, but equally don't be frightened to admit when you don't know or when you need some help. And when that happens, and it happens to us all, and it happens to me fairly regularly, don't be frightened to ask a colleague. Sometimes you think you know the answer, and even just sharing with a colleague allows you to reinforce your belief that you got it right. And I'm sure that you will find, as I have, that colleagues in whatever areas you go into will appreciate the fact that you're being honest about it and that you want a bit of help, and they'll give you that help willingly and freely. And you will then, in years to come, return that same favour to others that come after you. When I trained, I got the chance to learn from all sorts of different practitioners doing different areas of law. I learned that I was not very good at nor interested in, for example, conveyancing, so the buying and selling of houses. I learned that court work could be as interesting and indeed as exciting as I had hoped when my father first told me that it was my ambition to be a lawyer. I was the only one of 4 brothers that didn't realise I had a say in what career to follow. My 3 younger brothers all worked that out for themselves. I think using me as an example of what not to do. But it worked out well. My first interview for the job, my first main job, was in a pub in Queen Street in Glasgow on Cup final day in 1988. I assumed it was some sort of psychometric testing, but it wasn't. The person who was interviewing me, called Brian Gilfeder, he was a former pupil of Holyrood as well, and I actually never thought that the old Holyrood school tie would get me anywhere. It's not Eton or Harrow. So we discussed the game. Largely my interview was about what would happen in the Cup final in centenary year. So when Frank McAvenny scored the winner very close to full time, I knew I would get the job, and so I did. And I'm part of a small enclave of Glaswegians in Edinburgh, so never entirely welcomed there because I'm from Glasgow and there's still traces of that in my accent. Even the taxi driver says, "Where are you from?" I thought so. Despite having 2 kids who are Edinburgh born and bred, and the rest of my in-laws all being Hibbies, I'm part of a small, hardcore group of Celtic-supporting Glaswegians. I did my first jury trial, sheriff and jury trial, in 1989, and I've been lucky to do many jury trials since then, and that's probably the part of the job that I enjoy doing most. And since then I've done many, including many murder trials, including a murder trial that was filmed for Channel 4 and is on YouTube. And addressing jurors, which you now do, as of the middle end of last year, with the jury in a cinema and you're in the courtroom, so you're looking at a screen with the 15 faces. Even that, it still feels like you're doing justice. But I should say, however, that the many films and television programmes about life as a court lawyer, which I love, I like A Wee Busman's Holiday, they fail to capture the true monotony of the hours and hours of waiting and filling in forms, the bureaucracy of being a legal aid lawyer. I completed so many legal aid forms for one young man, no longer a young man, but I know his date of birth as well as I know the dates of birth of my children. 29/6/75. I must have completed hundreds of legal aid applications for him, and they don't show that in the films or the TV programmes for a very good reason, but it's part of learning the job and putting in those hours. Because the job of a criminal defence lawyer, which is what I do mostly and what I consider myself, it's a fantastic job. I love it, I'm passionate about it. Lots of people who are at my stage have become a bit jaded and are talking about their retirement if they're able to afford that, but I still have a huge enthusiasm and an energy for it. It takes you right into people's lives. People will tell you, share some of the most awful things that have happened to them. And you can ask them any question and mostly they will answer. They will not always tell you the truth, of course. Because if they did, then it would appear that I've only ever represented innocent people. And that's not the case. I mentioned careers advice earlier on. I have one distinction that I didn't mention in the advance publicity. I have acted for the worst shoplifter in Scottish legal history. He must have received very, very poor careers advice when he was at school. So he was from Leith. His dad was a major drugs gangster, but the son was a bit of a disappointment and focused mainly on shoplifting. Our office was very near Boots the Chemist, at the foot of Leith Walk. He was shoplifting there one day, was chased out. The police took up the chase. He ran into our office, and when he got into the office, he burst into hysterical laughter and started flicking the V's at the police officers. Everyone round about him was puzzled until he said, "You can't lift me here, I'm in my lawyer's office," at which point everyone else burst into hysterical laughter because he must have seen, I think, the cartoon version of Hunchback of Notre Dame and mistaken the law of sanctuary in medieval churches for not being able to be lifted in your lawyer's office. It's not a thing. So the police composed themselves and lifted him. But if the time comes, as it does very often, when you've had a career of the length I have, and you think you've done everything and you think you know everything, and you don't, and it's happened to lots of my colleagues, my advice is to look for some other way to stimulate your interest. And I did that through doing further qualifications to be able to appear in the High Court, and then moving on to become a QC and doing some of the most difficult and demanding cases. So aspire. It is important to keep pushing yourself. So that's why in 2001 I did the extra qualifications to be able to appear in the High Court. 10 years later, in 2011, so I'd been appearing in the High Court for a while, I saw an opportunity to get myself into a case at the UK Supreme Court. And that really, for any lawyer, not just a criminal defence lawyer, is one of the ultimate tests. It's the Champions League of court work. And I managed to get back to the Supreme Court later on the same year. A huge amount of work, very, very worrying. You're appearing in front of some of the most clever people in the entire country, but I got through it. I appeared there for the third time in 2013, in between the birth of my two kids. One was born in February, one was born in December, so not twins, about as close together as they could be without being twins. And I did okay, as well as finding out how little sleep it's possible to function on, because my daughter Flora was not great at sleeping at that point. But appearing there was also useful as an exercise in self-assessment. I thought I had enough experience, I knew the subjects, and I felt ready to go there. Some others that were there at the same time, one very experienced and one inexperienced, were not the same. So it taught me about honest self-assessment, pushing yourself, aspiring, but also recognising that you can't do everything and you can't do it all at once. So doing it when you're ready. Believe in yourself, push yourself, but recognise that sometimes there's no substitute for putting in the hours and getting the experience. Finally, there's an aspect of my career, again, that I don't talk about on my website, where I do sound like I'm the best criminal defence QC in Scotland, but if you read anyone's website, that's how they sound. It's my ability to get the correct proportions of juice and water into a cup of diluting orange. One of my colleagues was involved in an organisation, the Scottish Human Rights Centre. I went to their AGM, I offered to help, it was a small organisation, and I got the job of diluting the orange. So either they were struggling for committee members, or I was really, really good at diluting orange, because I ended up on the committee and eventually ended up chairing that organisation. So doing that, which was in the voluntary sector, I wasn't paid for it, was a really interesting addition to my work. It led me to appearing on daytime television, trying to talk about human rights. It was, I don't know if it was less popular in those days. There's certain parts of the media where it's still very unpopular. I appeared on a Richard and Judy special on youth crime, although I didn't end up getting a speaking part in that. That's the Richard who's now in the jungle in Wales. I even appeared on one of the most short-lived TV channels in UK history, which is known mainly for Britain's bounciest weather, featuring a man who'd been an Oompa Loompa in the original Willy Wonka film, bouncing on a trampoline while providing weather forecasts. So that was the level of the channel. I still appeared there talking about human rights, not on a trampoline. I then became involved in doing press and media comment, appearing at the Scottish Parliament, and trying to do other things like that. So communication, good communication, is at the heart, and has been at the heart of my career. But those things that I did in the voluntary sector, they very often tied into what I was doing as a day job. So I suggest that you look around the jobs or whatever it is that you do for other things that might add to your interest, that might add to your experience, that might add to your CV if you're looking for work. But most especially that it keeps you going, it inspires you, it keeps things interesting for you, and you don't know where they will lead. Through doing that, I met Jerry Conlon of the Guildford Four and Paddy Hill of the Birmingham Six. So they're two of the main miscarriage of justice cases from England in the 1970s. These were people that spent a long, long number of years in jail before it was recognised that they were innocent, in fact, of what they'd been convicted of. and Paddy Hill from the Birmingham 6, he now lives. I suspect the fact I'm still talking when the second one of those goes mean that I've gone on slightly longer. I'm just about to finish. But Paddy Hill lives in Scotland now. He set up the Miscarriages of Justice organisation. So if you're passionate about the sort of job I do, it's the sort of thing that you're interested in. But let me close by congratulating you all again. Having been asked to speak with you today, I will pay particular attention to the progress and achievements of the various Holyrood classes of 2021. Work hard, be lucky. After that, I hope you enjoy your careers as much as I continue to enjoy mine, and bearing in mind our motto, that in whatever you do, you conquer, but not in a fighty way. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Once again, could I ask everyone to join me in thanking John for his valuable time and for such a wonderful speech this morning. Mr. Quinn will now announce the award winners, and Mr. Scott will present the awards.
Okay, thank you, Mariam. Thank you, Simon. Could I invite Adelaide up to help me out and assist me in providing the awards, and John? The first awards at this ceremony are the Holyrood Excellence Awards. Now, these awards are given in each subject to the young person who has achieved the highest academic standard in that subject. These young people bring so much to their learning, and we really appreciate their input into classrooms and the impact they have on the climate within class as they are role models to others in their learning. So very well deserved, and I congratulate you all on achieving your awards. So, the Excellence Awards in Modern Studies, Aaron Walsh. Cyber Security, unfortunately Aidan can't be with us, but we'll give him a wee clap. Aidan Rogers. The Music Excellence Award, Amy Tuwar. The Chemistry, Anzela Tariq. Anzela can't be with us today, but again, we'll show our appreciation. Photography, Blair Somerville. French, Cara Goucher. Cara can't be with us today. For Music and Computing Science, Cara Lowe. For Physics, David Blair. For Maths and Human Biology, Iman Amir. For Spanish, Emma Crow. Emma can't be with us, but for Sociology, Erin Sherry. Erin cannot be with us either. For Accounting and Human Biology, Hannah Call. For Health and Food Technology, Jessica Harrison. For Music Tech, Joe Divers. And for Administration and Information Technology, Kayla Monaghan. Kayla can't be with us today, but we'll give her a wee round. For Chemistry and Italian, Kate McFarlane. For Games Development, Liam de Buffalo. For History, Lily Gillan. Lily can't be with us. For Graphic Communications, Mimi Ndaga. For geography, Manisa Kandel. For business management, Maria Ali. I don't think Maria's here. For art and design and English, Mariam Shazad. For politics, Matthew Duffy. I don't think Matthew's here. For physical education, Morgan McDougall. For drama, Paul McFadden. For computing science, Ronan Peacock. For French and drama, Rosie Eastwood. Rosie can't be with us. For ESOL, Rukaya Aslan. For design and manufacture, Samuel Selvaraja. And finally, for practical woodwork, Thomas Bowles. Thomas can't be with us. Thomas can't be with us. Oh, Thomas is here. Thank you. The next awards are the Holyrood Award. The Holyrood Award is given to the young person who demonstrates an excellent attitude and commitment towards learning. These young people display the characteristics which we strive for in our standards for success. They demonstrate hard work, resilience and positivity, and all of those things that John spoke about in his speech. As well as that, they build strong relationships with their teachers and peers, and they're just good to have in the classroom. Every teacher loves teaching them. Okay, so the Holyrood Awards. Not that they don't love teaching the excellent ones as well. We love teaching them. We love teaching you all. For the Holyrood Awards, in physics, Anzela Tariq. She cannot be with us, but give her a wee round of applause. In Italian, Candice Assomu. Candice can't be with us. In English, Katrina Henry. In Administration and Information Technology, Kira Barber. In History and Politics, Ellie McQuilkin. I don't think Ellie's here, but we'll give her a round of applause. In Spanish, Fatima Amin. Health and Food Technology and Business Management, Jasmine Okolo. Jasmine can't be with us. Let's give her a round of applause. In Computing Science, Jemima Mohan. In Geography, Katie Byrne. Katie's off today. In Drama, Kenzie Wright. In Games Development, Kieran Fimister. In Human Biology, Liam Fielding. In Music, Lucy O'Neill. In Maths, Maria Marley. In Music Technology, Maureen Rooney. In Chemistry, Mia Morgan. In Accounting, Minahil Ali. In ESOL, Mohammed Erzagi. In Art and Design, Kazim Shahzad Khan. In Physical Education, Reza Tamid. In Physics, Ronan Peacock. In Drama, Shay McFadden. I don't think Shay can be with us. In Modern Studies, Simran can also, he's not with us, let's give him a round of applause. Simran Pal. Oh, Simran. Apologies, Simran. Let's give her another round of applause. In Religious, Moral and Philosophical Studies, Sophie McGuinness. Don't think Sophie's here. In Graphic Communications, Sufyan Ali. And finally, Yasmin Adakiri. Yasmin can't be with us today. Let's give her a round of applause. Okay. Thank you, John. Thank you, Adelaide.
We would like to offer a vote of thanks to some of the many people who helped in preparing and organising the Senior Phase Awards. Thanks to the Music Department and especially our performer today, Ryan Fielding.
Thanks again to our guest speaker, Mr. John Scott QC.
Thanks to Mrs. McCoy and Mr. Graham and the Caritas team for supporting and setting up and supervising.
Thanks to our technician, Mr. David Cargill, for providing sound and filming this event. The films of the award ceremonies will be posted on Holyrood YouTube's channel soon.
Thanks to our cleaners and janitorial staff for all the great work that they do.
Thanks to the art department, especially Miss Rees for creating the balloon arch and Mr. Burrow for photography.
Thanks to the young people of Holyrood and especially the former pupils who have taken their time to come here today.
Thanks to our catering staff for providing cakes, biscuits and light refreshments.
Thanks to my co-host Sim.
Thanks to my co-host Miriam.
After the ceremony, award winners should remain in the auditory to have their photo taken under the balloon arch. After that, we would like to invite you all to join us for some light refreshments in the small gym after the ceremony. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Fielding will play The Winner Takes It All to close our award ceremony.